Good evening and welcome to Pop Go the Writers. And as Mark Twain once said, reports of my death are greatly over exaggerated, or whatever the hell he said.
Oh, great! We're doing Mark Twain quotes. Man, if you'd warned me, I would have had something ready.
It was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. Let's
But
see if anybody remembers this show and will show up for it today.
yeah. Well, for anybody who's been wondering where the hell we've been, Jim's been here. Jim has been ready to
hmm
go, and
hmm hmm
2 weeks ago, I begged off because I wasn't feeling well.
hmm
And it turns out it was worse than just not the flu. I thought it was the flu.
hmm
The following Wednesday, I ended up in the ER with an infection in my leg and was in the hospital for about 5 days.
hmm
And they were just pumping me full of antibiotics, realizing that one of the antibiotics was messing up my kidneys, getting me off of that.
Jeez.
Then they sent me home with antibiotics. A
Uh,
different one. It turns out I was allergic to that one, so I had to get that out of my system onto another one. It's been it's not been a good couple weeks.
to put it mildly.
Yeah, I miss doing the shows. I enjoy talking with Jim. I enjoy talking with the viewers and about the topic. But I honestly don't even know if I have enough energy to do tonight's show. But yeah, we'll
You
see how it
missed
goes.
you missed Batman Day. I mean, I can forgive
I did.
lots of things, and this stuff about, being in the hospital and whatever, but you missed Batman Day,
I
and
know.
and
I was.
and Kyle and I had to pick up the slack.
I felt horrible about that. I was watching some of the shows from my hospital bed.
I wondered, I wondered if you were gonna do that.
Yeah, I wanted to call in, but I'm like,
That would
no.
have been funny, yeah. He would have called you in your own show.
Uh,
Well,
yeah,
we got
the
through it.
hospital situation was kind of weird because, as you guys know, I'm a big guy. Well, the problem is that it's not just big; it's tall.
Hmm.
And the hospital that my insurance sends me to, and that is close to me, their beds are all set up with these metal footboards that if you're anything over 6 foot, you can't stretch out. You can't lay straight. I'm 6'6",
Hmm.
so I couldn't. There was, and the problems were my legs, which I needed to have straight, and I couldn't. So I spent 2 days basically in pain, bundled up, not being able to sleep until they finally found a bed they could bring in.
I was gonna say, why would there be any hospital like that anywhere that wouldn't be ready for anybody?
And I asked one of the employees, I'm like, are all your patients like under 6 foot? And they're like, yeah, mostly.
Jeez.
So yeah, it was not fun. I missed you all. I did want to mention this came in the mail today. Um, it's real.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is a real book.
It's a real 230 some odd page book,
Uh-huh.
and it's written like it's by Scott Lang.
I
It's got
wonder if
quotes.
somewhere in there they credit the real writer.
I don't know. It's got quotes on the back from Bruce Banner, Sam Wilson, Stephen Strange, Clinton Barton, and Christine Everhart.
Okay. Wow, that's deep.
Yep.
I I kind of wondered whether I should get that or not. I mean, they have the entire book.
Rob Kuttner. I don't know if you can see it on there, but
Okay. It says with. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I wonder if it actually repeats the parts of the book that he read in the movie. I wonder if it actually has that part, in it.
It probably does. It also has between every chapter they have FAAMQ, which I assume are frequently asked Ant-Man questions. And it's stuff like, aren't you worried that this technology could fall into the wrong hands? And he answers, yeah. Something like 95% of the stuff I get wrapped up in involves technology falling in the wrong hands. To say nothing of the risks of the technology, even in the right hands, even with less advanced tech, there's always a risk. But what's the alternative? Don't continue innovating?
I was going to say the technology fell into his hands,
Yeah, he tried to steal it.
That's, what? That's the kind of stuff that I love. I mean, that's the meta, stuff. That's really great. So it's a book in the movie, but they really should have had it out closer to the movie.
They
I
should
think they maybe
The only-
thought of it right at that moment, like, oh, we should probably do this as a real book.
The only time I've seen someone else do that is when Castle was on the air with Nathan Fillion,
Mm-hmm.
and they released some books by Richard Castle.
Now that's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, he was supposed to be a fiction writer. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jay says it's great to see you, Dan, but he doesn't say anything at all about me.
Well, he saw you on Batman Day.
That's true. That's true. We that actually went well, I thought. So I did I taped shows you my age right there. I taped a segment, beforehand, like the day before, that he used about who is Batman.
Yeah.
And then I did a live segment to talk about specifically the Batman 66 TV show. And honestly, I thought it went really well. Jay didn't, or Kyle Jay Kyle didn't say anything like completely inept about the show, and we got through it okay, and I had a really nice time. So that was fun.
Kyle has a tendency to dislike things for the oddest reasons. It's like, I don't like Egghead because Vincent Price has that real thin mustache, and somebody scared me when I was like 4 with a real thin mustache.
Well, I think it was,
and that would be like, so I don't like that episode.
I think it was the day before when we were doing the shorter segment. He said he called him Mr. Egghead, and I just let it go. I was just like, okay, things are moving along here, and it'll be, I'd have to really embarrass him to correct it. So at least he got Egghead correct, but he said Mr. Egghead.
By the way, Jay says it's good to see you too.
Oh, good. I see that. Thank you. It's good to see me too.
Now, see, I did participate a little bit in Batman Day.
Oh, did you?
I had 2 videos that I gave them if they needed filler, and they ended up using both of them.
Oh, good, good.
One was my psychological breakdown of the Riddler.
Okay.
And the other was my top 5 favorite Batman comic book stories.
Oh, well, when did you do those?
I've had those for a while.
Oh, okay.
They were existing content, but
I'm sorry I missed those. I mean, I could only do my own stuff,
Right. But they're available on my own YouTube page.
Okay. So that you picked, what did you say, 5 Batman stories?
Mm-hmm.
From all across time and space. Okay. Yep. Wow. Very interesting. I don't even know if I could do that.
And I think if I remember correctly, I narrowed it down to in continuity stories.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, but how do you pick a continuity to do
Well,
that?
like Batman Hush,
Okay.
as opposed to Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah, no, sure, right. No, like no alternative history.
No Elseworld stories. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
remember if I did that or not, but I think I did.
sure,
So
sure. They're, if I'm not mistaken, they're coming. They have a female version of Hush that's going to be in the stories. I saw some, yeah, and she has a stupid name too, and I can't remember what it is. And then like I saw it and I said, oh, she's supposed to be like like a young female Hush. Like I think maybe she's gonna be, I don't know, Damien's arch nemesis or something like that. I
you
wish I
call it
could remember
Whisper,
what it is she was called.
probably like Whisper or something.
Yeah, it is. It's something like that. I mean, it goes along with Hush, whatever it is. And she has like a sort of this just bare minimum type of, because his whole thing was that he was all bandaged up, and she has
Yeah,
that motif sort of in there. But I just saw something about that. Like, okay, whatever.
I think Hush was the last time I remember looking up when the next issue of something was going to come out.
Okay.
That's how, I mean, I was excited for that run. That was probably one of my favorite, my some of my favorite DC stories.
Uh-huh.
Hush, Green Arrow Quiver by Kevin Smith and Phil Hester and Andy Parks,
Right.
and Adam Strange Planet Heist.
Oh, okay, sure. Wait, Dan, here it is. Wait, it's even worse than I remember. She's called Shush. I'm not making this up, because you couldn't make something like this up. And it's not even like, wait, that sounds like a parody, right?
Yeah,
Shush. So the guy was Hush, but the new female version, DC to introduce female version of Hush called Shush. Shush.
I'm
No,
going
you
back to the
shush
hospital
now.
now.
You shush now. Wow. I swear I'm not making that up.
I wish you were.
I know.
That
I mean,
sounds so bad.
that's like, the Mad Magazine version of Hush would be called
Yeah,
Shush.
that sounds so stupid.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, happy Batman Day late. We
Yeah.
got through it, and I think Kyle did a spectacular job, and it all, it all went well, and there'll be more Batman days in the future.
All right, let's get on to one of our topics.
Okay. All right, because I think we exhausted Shush.
Yeah, and so have they. Uh, let's talk about Ahsoka.
Okay. And there's a lot to talk about.
I, let's just. What is your overall feeling about the show right now?
It's it's if it's not been getting a little better every episode, it's at least maintaining, a good level. But I have very much enjoyed it. There's been nothing at all that's really, not pleased me. We're getting an awful lot of stuff that I know is from other shows and things like that, but it hasn't concerned me in the slightest. I got to tell you, this last episode, I think there was a statement made by Balin that was intended for a wide selection of Star Wars fans, and I was so glad when he said it, because to me it was like, it was justifying the sequel trilogy. On my Facebook, I said like, oh, they finally said something in Star Wars that a lot of Star Wars fans have needed to hear, but nobody wanted to say it. It's the part where, do we need spoilers for this? I don't think it's much of a
No,
spoiler.
we're far enough past.
Okay, good. It was when he said that, the Jedi Order falls, the Empire rises. He said history repeats over and over. and over again. And he what's his thing about, like, oh, I want to end it, or whatever.
Yeah.
I loved that, because I think one of the biggest complaints, and it started with Force Awakens and it's gone out, especially when Force Awakens came out, is that, like, oh, well, this is just a retread, or oh, they did, they won, they beat the Empire in Return of the Jedi, and now, like, that's all just thrown away and it all comes back again. And here's me saying, like, yeah, right, history repeats. That's exactly right. You're doomed to repeat these things, and especially if you don't learn your lessons. I really did feel like it was sort of like a message to those Star Wars fans that said, that's right, that's what these things repeat themselves, over and over and over again. So it was a really interesting take from a bad guy to say that. Those two are really becoming really interesting characters.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of wondering where this is going to go with them, because I said almost from the start that I thought that Shin was going to hit a moment where she was going to turn against her master, that she was kind of questioning things. I think I'm still kind of see that, but now I see these shades of gray in him now, and I wonder, where it's going to go. But really, I'm having a great time. I'm really enjoying it. And, I'm really happy for fans of Rebels and Clone Wars. Even though I was not there and I was not watching those things, I realize the weight of the stuff that is happening in this show. And I'm really thrilled for the people, because I've been seeing people say, like, they've waited for that reunion between Ezra and Sabine, forever, and here it is finally, or the return of Thrawn, or whatever. So I'm really enjoying it.
I'm at the other end of that spectrum, I think.
Oh no! Oh no! Really?
I don't have anything I don't like about the show,
Okay. At least there's that.
but I'm not loving it.
Okay.
What I do love is Ray Stevenson's Baylan Skoll.
Mm-hmm.
I think his character is amazing, and it always hits me that this is it. This is what we're getting of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a tweet one of the Star Wars fan sites did, and it kind of angered me a little bit. Because it said, if they want to continue with Baylan Skoll after Ahsoka, who should they cast? And I'm like, it's not even over yet.
Yeah.
The guy has only been passed away a couple months now.
Yeah.
Why are we having that conversation?
Yeah, I couldn't even, I can't imagine going there,
Yeah.
At any point for that matter. I mean, yeah, let's get to the end of this show at the very least.
My problem with the show
Huh.
is that it feels like it's relying too much on what's come before. Thrawn doesn't come across as menacing unless you know he's supposed to be menacing. It's not like, Darth Vader has such a great silhouette.
Yeah.
Thrawn walks out. He looks like an older guy in a white suit that's probably a little too tight. He doesn't look menacing. He doesn't have the big cheekbones that Chiss are supposed to have, the high cheekbones. And I like Lars Mikkelsen. I'm glad that he got, they kept him.
Yeah.
but I don't see anything in the show itself of why we should care that Thrawn is coming back. You know, we see some stormtroopers that have these wraps on them, which I'm guessing they're all undead stormtroopers or something like that.
You know what's funny about that is I've had people say that, and I guess I didn't get that. I just thought it was that they've spent how many years in this other wild place, and their stuff's getting all, you know, beat up or whatever, and they're doing whatever they can to pull it together.
Well, I think it's
and
because
someone's
the
like,
Night-
"Oh no, they're zombies!" Like, where did that come from?
it's the Night Sisters. They resurrect the dead.
Oh, okay. So all of his men are dead?
They might be,
Okay.
you know. And the Enoch guy with the gold faceplate, like, where'd the gold faceplate come from?
Right. Well, you never know. It was laying around somewhere.
But from what?
Oh, come on, Dan. Is that the worst thing you can
See,
come
that's
up
my
with?
point.
about
Is
this
that
show?
you know, it's like, oh, hey, Sabine and Ezra have been reunited.
Hmm.
Well, unless you watch Rebels, they don't give us a reason why. We see her longingly look at his hologram,
You know,
and they tell, you know, we were told that this is important to her, but we don't ever see anything that shows us this connection between them. We don't get a flashback or anything that shows the bond between them.
okay.
It's just like the whole relationship between Sabine and Ahsoka. It doesn't exist in Rebels, so they kind of do this hand wave thing mentioning it, but we never see it.
Okay.
And that's part of where my problem is that they're asking the viewer to fill in a lot.
That's true, but I mean, maybe I'm not the best example, because I found out so much about those shows, but I mean, I did not watch those shows, and I'm enjoying this for what it is. You know, I'm not getting the entire full impact of these different things, but I feel like they've told us enough in this show, you know, that I'm picking up and running with it. The other show that I do, my co-host Fred, he's barely seen any Star Wars stuff. I think he's pretty much seen the Star Wars movies and these more recent TV shows, and he seems to be doing just fine with it, too. So I think it's the antibiotics talking, Dan.
I think
Okay, well, what are you really enjoying about it, though? Okay, so now you have to tell me something you're really enjoying about it.
Well, I told you I really enjoy Balin Skull. I enjoy Hu Yang.
Yeah, I am too. I like him a lot.
Yeah. I'm curious what the Night Sisters have to do with all this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, from that point of view.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm at a point now where I really don't care about Ahsoka, Sabine, or Ezra. I'm more curious about Balin and Shin.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I'm starting to tune out when they're not on the screen.
I can kind of give you that as far as the show isn't called Ahsoka, and I was almost going to say she's not in it that much, but what it is that there's more points that of focus than just her.
Yeah. She wasn't in it at all this last episode.
Except at the very beginning. Yeah.
You know, it's like Book of Boba Fett, how they took 2 episodes off.
That's true.
So.
It's but I mean, in Book of Boba Fett, there were moments where I was saying like, why did they construct it like this? This is really weird. And I haven't said that at all in this one. I've done my usual, oh my God, they only have 2 episodes left. How are they going to, finish this up? My feeling is that they don't, in this show, they don't get back to the regular Star Wars universe, that everything that goes on and whatever they have to do to stop Thrawn takes place where they're at right now. That was the other thing that I thought was interesting, is that a lot of Star Wars fans say that they want something new, and I said, okay, well, here's something new. We have literally an entire new galaxy, and it makes me wonder if this is only the tip of the iceberg, if this is a way for Lucasfilm or whatever you want to call it, Disney, to have an entirely new playground that's not other than it has the nuts and bolts of spaceships and lightsabers and things like that, but they could have a whole film series that's just in this new galaxy. So I said, okay, here you go. Here's something really super, completely brand new. What do you think?
I think that I think you're right in the sense that this season will take place in I think it'll end with them coming back, with Thrawn already having come back.
See, that's what I wondered, are they going to stop him from coming all the way back? Okay.
I don't think they are, because from what I understand, the movie that Dave Filoni is going to do,
Yeah.
Thrawn's the big bad.
No, I get that. And I thought about that. In this show, they can't stop him completely, i.e., they can't kill him, or again, they can't stop him completely because he's supposed to be in the coming movie, but they have to at least slow him down or cause us, give him a setback of some sort. I mean, there has to be, I think, some small victory at least for the good guys in this show.
Maybe they're racing back, and Ezra convinces the Purrgil to slam into the Chimera and knock it out of hyperspace. So he's close to back, but not all the way.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
that would be my guess.
I could see something like that. Sure. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Like I said, I think it's interesting concepts and characters.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's some flaws in the storytelling.
Okay.
And maybe that's why I'm sensitive to it.
I wonder if there's a way that it could have been done that you wouldn't have felt that way, or is it more? Are you thinking it shouldn't even have been attempted because it relies too much on these other shows?
There's the old saying of show don't tell.
Sure.
And there's a lot of telling in this and very little showing. There's a lot of past that we're not being given information on. And yeah, it's all in Rebels and Clone Wars, but there's a certain amount that still needs to come through. Because right now, why does anybody care about Ezra?
I get, and I guess I'm assuming that I'm going to be told,
See, you shouldn't be told, you should be shown.
Okay. Or, well, pardon me. I mean, yes, or I'm going to be shown over the next 2 episodes.
But that's my point, is that there's a lot of telling and not showing.
Okay.
Like I said, they tell us about the connection between Ahsoka and Sabine. They tell us about Sabine and Ezra, but they don't show us flashbacks. Yes, they're flashbacks to animated, but they could film it, a scene, in live action.
Yes.
So that's where.
Do you feel that Filoni is being too indulged?
Yes,
Okay.
I think he's being too indulged, and I think that I think he still has some learning to do as a storyteller.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, there's things that
Even
he still,
after all he has under his belt, I mean, okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
because there's certain things you can do in animation.
Yeah,
You can get away with skipping
sure.
things, stuff like that. That doesn't play as well live action.
I wonder if, I mean, do you feel like he could have benefited from having Jon Favreau work on this with him? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think what Favreau can do is he can tell a nice, neat story.
Mhm.
Where Filoni, I think, has all these great ideas.
And wolves.
And wolves,
Yeah.
just a ton of fucking wolves. Uh, uh, yeah,
That
those wolves,
that's
dudes.
very interesting. All that said, I am still enjoying it, and I think I'm kind of surprised that I'm enjoying it at the level that I am by and not having watched. Because I've been going around saying to people, "No, you. I don't think that you really need that." I think people are worrying too much about needing to watch, all that other stuff, and I'm picking it up, but I don't
Yeah,
know. And I've
I
said it
don't.
before. I watch things and I walk away and I either say, "Yeah, I liked it," or "No, I didn't like that."
Yeah, I don't think you need
Mm-mm.
everything from Rebels and Clone Wars,
Yeah.
but I think they need to better connect the characters, and they're not.
Okay.
You know,
What do you think that we will get between this show and that movie, the Filoni movie? I don't think we're going to have an Ahsoka season 2. Everybody's saying, "Oh, something or something will happen in season 2," and it's like, where are you getting this season 2 from? I don't think that. I think literally we might get Mandalorian season 4. I'm not
yeah,
counting something like Skeleton Crew because I don't think that connects in with
it does
this.
actually.
Yeah, at
It is
all.
part of this universe. It is.
No, it's part of Star Wars. I know that, but I
No, no,
mean, I
no.
don't.
It's considered part of the Filoni part of it.
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever heard that. He's involved in it. Okay.
Yep.
I I was talking with a friend the other day at work, and he watches all of this stuff too, and we were talking about, well, what else will there be and everything, and then and it's like suddenly dawned on me. I don't think he brought it up. I said, "Oh, remember that show called Skeleton Crew?" It's like there's been so little said of it, and for a while that I started looking things up. It did finish filming, but I love this. So Wikipedia, I mean, nobody's really updated it because it said it was expected to come out this November or December, and I said there hasn't even been a trailer or anything. I
Yeah, we
don't
saw some
think it's
still
going to
shots
be
for
out.
it.
I'm sorry.
We've seen some still shots for it. That's about
Right,
it.
I know, but I said I really don't think that thing's going to be out by the end of the year.
Yeah. Hey Ed, good to see you. Um, yeah, it's not going to be out until next year, but I know that Jude Law is playing a Jedi. There's a whole lot of Jedi
Hmm.
for Order 66. Just doesn't seem to have done nearly what it's supposed to have done.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, that means that there was a significant amount of them that were so far away that that they didn't have clone troopers near them, and I don't know what to tell you. You know what it's kind of you know what it's kind of like? It's like Superman, last son of Krypton, except for that guy, that one over there, and those 10,
Yep.
and there's a whole big group of them over here, and then they had to get rid of all of them, No
Yeah.
more
So
Kryptonians. That's it. Not
or
even
Doctor
Supergirl.
or
And then they
Doctor Who, the Doctor, the final Time Lord. Oh, and there's the Master, and there's the Ronnie, and then there's Ravonna or whatever her name is.
Yeah. Those, yep, you always open up those doors and hey, did you watch the new Doctor Who the trailer for the special?
I did not. I've seen bits, like caught bits of it
Okay.
with Donna coming back, and
Hmm.
so it looks interesting to me. I'm looking forward to it. I'm still trying to catch up. I watched like the second episode of Jodie Whittaker the other night
Okay.
because I'd only watched the first one, and it didn't feel like Doctor Who to me when I watched it.
I've had people say that to me. My co-host on my Doctor Who podcast said Jodie Whittaker, really good doctor in really bad stories.
Yeah,
Like he said, I loved her. I loved her as the character, but she just got stuck in really bad stories. He said it was a real shame because he said it was almost like that she was just wasted, uh, being in that season or whatever you want to call it. There's something really interesting in the new trailer, and that's who Neil Patrick Harris is playing. Have you heard
the,
this?
t- the toy maker.
Yeah, and I guess like nobody where we didn't really know that up until just now or something like that. Now that hits me where I live because that's from the William Hartnell era. Like, wow, what a deep dive, that was. But that is an interesting choice because he was supposed to be this almost godlike figure, this all
Yeah.
powerful figure. So I don't like Neil Patrick Harris much at all. So, and that he would be replacing the great Michael Gough is just, I don't know. I'll wait and see though.
Um, I like Neil Patrick Harris. He was great in Lemony Snicket's
Hmm.
as Olaf. You know, when he does comedy and stuff, I like him. Um, yeah, I have no problem with Neil Patrick Harris. And we just talked about Ahsoka and episode 6 included. Yes, I am caught up on Ahsoka.
But Neil Patrick Harris is not British.
No, he's not.
I know. I'm wondering how many Brits are not happy about him playing, number one, being in the show and then playing a character that used to be played by a Brit.
I still think the biggest mistake they ever did on Doctor Who was when Peter Capaldi was the Doctor, and they didn't bring Craig Ferguson in as a guest star.
You'll have to explain that one to me.
They are very old friends. They were in a band together.
Oh, okay.
But Craig Ferguson has also been, when he had his talk show, the biggest proponent of Doctor Who. He
Oh,
would
okay.
talk about it. He'd have them all on.
Yeah,
So it was obvious he loves the show.
yeah.
And to have these two guys that were in a punk band in their teens be able to do the show together would have been fantastic.
Maybe that's just it. It would have been too obvious you know what it probably was? It was probably, the schedules didn't line up or that sort of thing. That's a shame.
Yeah. Jar Jar Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, the Naughty. Actually, the Naughty were something I really liked about the episode.
Is that what they're called? I forgot to look up,
At
I saw people
OTTI.
immediately complaining about them, almost to like, like what is that? That's stupid. Like, oh yeah, like there's never been anything in Star Wars like that before. It's like there's always been something in Star Wars like them. They're the Jawas,
I
and how
liked
many
them
other
a
different
lot.
things.
I thought they were great.
Yeah,
The
I
new
had no
design.
problem with
I
them.
love the fact that the shells might just be backpacks,
Hmm.
and
And that they live in a trailer park
yeah,
with antenna up on the
yeah,
face.
with Jesus.
Right. Oh, the you know what? For one thing, I've seen the least amount of complaining in that I've seen among Star Wars fans in years. I mean, this did really seem to please a lot of people, especially this last one. But one of the complaints I saw was, like, geez, Thrawn must not have been looking too hard for Ezra because she found him, in an afternoon or something like that. And it's like, other people have been trying to jump in and say that it's like he wasn't really looking for them. And the other thing is that he is with a race of beings that keep moving around too. But
Yeah.
no, it's like I don't think that he was actively looking for Ezra.
No, he was just sitting back eating cream cheese and bagels and
Yeah,
you know,
collecting art.
yeah. I need to see something to make Thrawn menacing.
Okay, he's got a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, they're like a dime a dozen. They're taking him apart in Andor, remember?
Yeah, that's why they're special now.
Crazy Louie has them for sale. You could pick one up.
But his comes up, behind and is menacing the way it hangs over things, and
So
he
he
has
bought
zombie
his.
stormtroopers.
So he bought his with the dramatic entrance
Yes,
option.
that's exactly right. Yeah, it's silent but deadly.
At least it's got a good name, the Chimera.
Yes. And
Yeah,
the
right now,
Chimera was made up of a couple different, creatures in Greek mythology.
I guess I wanted, like, the higher cheekbones. I wanted him to look imposing, and he had the frayed costume, and he looked 63 years old,
Mm-hmm.
but with like Ronald Reagan's hair shellac.
Oh, I hated it. I hate it. Now I hate it all. You've turned me against it all.
If you want a villain to be threatening, make him threatening. It's like all the people complaining, Kang got beat by Ant-Man. He's not very menacing. Jonathan Majors was jacked,
Mm-hmm.
and his armor was destroyed. And they fist fought, and he
Mm-hmm.
only lost because Wasp came back.
Right. Yeah. Oh no, he was wiping up the floor with Scott.
Yeah.
And many other things.
Yeah, Kang to me is much more menacing so far than Thrawn has been.
Well, give the guy a chance. Jeez, he just came back.
I'm watching the show. I'm enjoying the show. I'm just not loving the show.
Okay. It's better than Book of Boba Fett.
There was some good stuff in Book of Boba Fett. If you love Bacta tanks,
mm-hmm.
You got your fill of Bacta tanks.
I do. It really pushed all my Bacta tank buttons.
Anybody else, when they hear Bacta tank, think Bactine?
I think that's what you're supposed to think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you're supposed to think.
So let's change over to the new show I watched.
Okay, yes.
Welcome to Wrexham. Now, this is going to tune people out pretty much as soon as I say it's about somebody buying a Welsh football team in the Premier Leagues over there. And it's, an 18 episode season that's all about trying to turn this team around and getting it to graduate to the higher leagues.
I thought you were going to say they would tune out when you said it has Ryan Reynolds in it.
I think that's where people come back.
Okay.
Because it is one of the most unique shows I have ever seen. Because you start off with Rob McElhenney, who comes from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who is friends with Ryan Reynolds, even though they had never met in person, and talked him into buying this football team in Wales. Now, neither one of them have any connection to Wales. One's American, one's Canadian. There's no connection other than the team was for sale,
Hmm.
and that it's closely tied to the people who live there.
Hmm.
So the whole first couple episodes is focused on them.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Reynolds is funny. They're funny interacting. Uh, there's the big movie star and the TV star. So that little jealousy thing going on,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that for about an episode or two, and then we start digging into the people in Wrexham, the guy that owns the pub that's actually attached to the stadium or to the pitch, the woman who works with all the handicapped people who come to the game, the volunteers, the coaching and stuff like that, and then trying to bring in a new coach and bring in new players. So you start learning about all the people in the city. And this one guy who writes a song that becomes popular because he mentions Deadpool and Rob McElhenney. And people are dressing as Deadpool in this town now. So you get this, all of a sudden, it's this drama about these people who are so attached with this football team.
Mm-hmm.
So you get this drama aspect of it. And you start finding out the personal stuff. The guy who wrote the song actually is dealing with cancer. So you start following that. So you got all this going on. And then they come up to an episode where it's, well, since we now own the team, it's probably a good idea to explain to people more about Wales itself. So then they bring in the guy who wrote The Fault of Our Stars,
Mm-hmm.
who does YouTube videos and TikTok videos,
Mm-hmm.
and they have him explain the history of Wales in cute little, and it's a comedy thing. And then they bring in this other woman who is a writer, but she also cooks, and they start making Welsh dishes.
Okay.
And they have this. They're going to do this pork, basically a pork stew or a lamb stew. And it turns out that raising sheep and lamb is one of the big things in Wales.
Okay. Yeah.
So they spend this time going around with farmers and stuff. In the middle of this cooking segment, they do this other segment about raising sheep, and one of the guys they're talking to has two baby sheep, so he names one Rob and one Ryan, and then they go back and they've got this slab of lamb meat on the counter, and they're like, "Wow, yeah, that didn't play out well, did it? I don't think we can cook that now. No, that's definitely Rob. No, that is Ryan. No, that's Rob." So then they switch to making a completely different dish. So you have this bizarre episode that's like watching YouTube videos. And then, then it goes back and is talking about the team and them trying to win and stuff. And then we find out that one of the players has a son who is autistic, and there's a fan who's autistic, and she kind of takes a liking, and it's a whole episode about autism and stuff like that.
So,
and then, I mean, like I said, it's kind of all over the place. You don't know what you're going to get with this show.
How much of it is fiction? Like,
none of it.
Okay, so did those two guys in the real world really buy that team?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. So it's not just a setup for this show. Okay.
This is a reality show.
Okay, all right.
And I think because the reason they're doing all these odd episodes is they're literally making it up as they go along.
Okay. Kind of like the Book of Boba Fett.
Fair enough.
Just to connect in with the Star Wars fans in the audience.
After one of the games, there was an incident in the stands. And you've heard of soccer hooligans, right?
I don't think so, no. I mean,
basically they're soccer fans who go and pick fight with the opposing team's fans.
Okay, I could have probably have guessed that from what they're called, that's what that is. Yes, okay.
And it's a serious problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, after one of the games, something happened. A guy got beaten pretty badly, even though he was a fan of the same team. These
Okay.
guys just wanted to pick a fight.
Yeah.
Well, so they did an entire episode on hooligans. They went to that guy, they checked on him, see how he was doing, got his story, what happened. They found another guy who, on the same night, wasn't part of the beating, but he was caught on camera throwing a bottle towards other people.
Hmm.
And he got a year ban from the game,
Hmm.
from the stuff. So, and you find out about how that's affecting his life and how his girlfriend is actually part of the police force and how she got turned down for being promoted to detective because of it.
Hmm.
So it's like all this interesting stuff is coming out, and it's just really weird. And then they'll work like commercials into the show to help pay for the team.
Hmm.
So you'll be watching and suddenly it's like, oh, those are the two groundskeeper we talk to every once in a while. They're doing a commercial for cold brew coffee. Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh. Is there a lot of Welsh spoken, I would imagine?
There is quite a bit of Welsh. You see it a lot on signs and stuff.
Yeah.
They do try to teach you some Welsh.
Okay.
Rob McElhenney is actually trying to learn Welsh and has actually done a few events where he's been able to say certain things in Welsh
Okay.
to kind of endear himself to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan's not trying to learn Welsh at
Yeah.
all.
They like they like their consonants.
They do.
Yes,
There is
they
one
do.
town that's like 37 consonants.
Yep.
So it's such a bizarre show.
Yeah, I mean and is those two guys, are they in every episode?
They're in a lot of them.
Okay, because I was going to say, because that would be like they would have had to spend a lot of time in Wales
And they
to
don't.
make this thing. Okay.
So when they do go over there, they're in that episode a lot. Or if there's something involving them, they're in the episodes.
Yeah.
But then there are some episodes it's like, well, we're focused on putting together the new team. How much are they going to spend?
Mm-hmm.
And you learn just there's so many different things to learn about. The game itself, which I don't know that well, how the Premier League works, how there's different levels,
Mm-hmm.
how much you get as a
Mhm.
team changes. So the whole thing is they're trying to promote out of basically the fifth level up one level because the difference that they would get from being one level up would pay the salary for all the players.
Oh, okay.
So
How many levels below like the top professional is this team?
they're in the fifth level.
Okay, all right. Wow. So that's pretty far down then.
Yeah. And
Okay.
they've been there about 15 years.
Okay. Like in my hometown, our baseball team is only one level below. It's the minor leagues. It's just one below, the major leagues. And our hockey team, if I'm not mistaken, is two levels below pro. So
Yeah.
this is like 5 levels below
But
pro.
what's interesting is that the teams can graduate up,
That's
which we
really
don't
interesting.
have here. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
the Angels suck this year.
Yeah.
It's not
yeah.
like they're going to be promoted to double A and a double A team is going to get bumped up to the majors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they should,
Mm-hmm.
but, so you could be in the fifth league. Now, I know they do, I don't want to spoil anything, but being that this is filmed and then put out later, I know where the team is now,
Yeah.
and they just started the second season,
Mm-hmm.
so I have an idea where it's going to end,
Okay.
season 2.
Yeah.
But it is pretty fascinating.
This is
And you get to know the players and stuff, and then suddenly they're like, "Yeah, we're letting this player go." It's like, "Oh, wow, okay, he's gone. Bye. Hope you find work."
This is an American produced show.
Yes.
It makes me wonder if they're able to watch it over there, in the UK.
Well, it's on FX, and
Okay.
then it goes to Hulu.
Okay. And I
So
say that because my understanding of Wales has always been that that's sort of the put upon part of the UK, like everybody else,
yeah,
like kicks the Welsh around. So I thought, okay, well maybe this is good for them, if as long as it's not showing them as, goofballs or
no,
whatever.
it's not. It's not showing them as goofballs. But what's interesting is they do focus on certain fans,
Hmm.
and those fans now are becoming celebrities.
Great.
So people are going over to Wrexham who watch the show and are getting autographs by the fans that are being shown in the show. The band that wrote the song is now getting he's cancer free,
Uh-huh.
and they're getting booked like crazy.
That's great.
The pub is constantly full. Um, and even the guy who he's one of those diehard fans that lives and dies with his team. He says it's amazing to have people come up and want his autograph. He's signing stuff from Wrexham, and he's like, I don't even know what to do with that, you know. So
That's
it is. I don't think this should have worked.
hmm
That's the part that amazes me, and I started watching it just to see what it was, and got so wrapped up into it that I watched all 18 episodes of the first season and the first 3 of the second season just this week.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
this is not a brand new show, and this is the first that I've heard of it, I think.
yeah, and again, I think a lot of people are going to get turned off by it
Yeah,
because, well, I don't like soccer.
right. Sure.
Or
That's
I
going
don't
to be
like
the knee-jerk
sports.
reaction.
And sports are a part of it, but it's as much as watching Ted Lasso.
Right.
Yes, it's about a sports team, but it's the people and
Yeah.
what they're trying to do. And one of the things that got me was both Ryan and Rob, when they talk about what they're trying to do, it isn't so much that they want to build it up and sell it or make a bunch of money off of it. It's that they both come from working class areas.
Hmm.
Rob from Philadelphia, where the Eagles are the heart of the city,
Hmm.
and I don't remember where Ryan comes from, but the idea that the town is so intertwined with this team,
Yeah.
and the team was the last owner was basically trying to just scam the city.
Hmm.
You know, um, he actually transferred ownership of the stadium to a different company, and then they had to fight to be able to buy the stadium back, even though they had already bought the team. So these guys, their thing is to get this team promoted,
Yeah.
and where it helps start building the city up, because the better the team is doing, the better the city does
Sure.
in the
Absolutely.
area around it.
Yeah. Right.
And you talk to, and they interview the people, and they're like, yeah, sales in my shop have skyrocketed,
I bet.
and that people are coming to town. Tourist is picking up. So even though this seems like such a bizarre thing, and this is Ryan, as much as you either can like or dislike Ryan Reynolds,
Hmm.
the guy is a marketing genius,
Hmm.
and he's tying all this stuff together. His aviation gin, there's a lot of advertising for that. The team wears the logo on their jerseys, stuff like that. That helps sell aviation gin. That gives him more money to put towards the team.
Right.
Those
Sure.
kind of things.
Sure.
They got TikTok to sponsor them.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why there was an episode with a bunch of TikTokers,
Hmm.
Things like that. So I think it's more than just, two famous people bought a team and they're trying to make it. They're really doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like when you first said it, I thought, okay, it's just like a kind of a funny little reality show type of thing, like they were going to just do it for comedy's sake. Hmm.
But no, I mean, you really get to know the players, you get to know the coach. Um, you know, like I said, the main striker, Paul Mullins, it's his son that turned out to be autistic,
Hmm.
and he talks about how his son went from making eye contact and doing all this stuff to regressing.
Hmm.
And Mullins could go higher up in the leagues. He could go sign with another team,
Hmm.
but this allows him to stay local, to be with his son more often, go home with him just about every day.
Yeah.
So for him, it's not about the money. It's about being able to play and do what he loves, but also being able to spend the time with his son, and stuff like that. And you watch that and you get connected to this guy
Mhm.
because there's the one thing I haven't seen is any egos,
Hmm.
because they've brought in a couple people from the high ends, killing fly,
Okay.
but there hasn't been any ego clashing. One guy asked to be released because he wasn't getting playing time. That's it.
Okay.
Everybody else is for the good of the team, and it's a fascinating show.
Sounds like.
So if you're looking for something different to watch, give it a shot because every episode is different than the other.
Hmm.
So, hey, look, we made an hour.
See, and you were worried.
I was. Did we not cover anything we were supposed to cover?
I Ahsoka and the soccer show. So no, I think we're good. And Batman Day. Yep. I
Oh,
think we
guys,
did.
keep
Yeah.
in mind that when Loki comes out, it's October 5th, not October 6th.
Yeah.
It's going to be released in the evening
Yeah.
at a reasonable hour, like 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
6 o'clock Western or Pacific.
I think
9 p.m.
they must have really have seen that worked well with Ahsoka to do it that way for, that I guess we'll probably start seeing more of their shows being done like that, I guess.
I hope so. I think it's a good idea.
Hmm.
Thank you, Ed. It's good to be back. So I should be on my show all week this week, all day, each day this week.
Good. Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Jim and I will be back next week. I will be on my show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And that's it. So have a great week. Stay safe.